This is one of the cutest, prettiest, neatest bikes I've ever had in my shop. And it's been here before, and I've done some work on it. It's just lovely. Right now, the client reports that the tranny main shaft is leaking oil. You'll notice that when the bike is on the side stand and the transmission is full of oil, it will rest against the tranny main shaft seal and drip. I got on the other side, put my hand up inside the front sprocket, the tranny side of the front sprocket. There is oil on the back of the sprocket and on the front of the tranny, so I'm going to go ahead and take the main seal out. I have to empty out the primary and get into the, and here comes, and there's Kevin.
The cavalry has arrived.
The cavalry has arrived. Okay, so anyway, this is a lovely little T100C. It's a 1969. And it is just one of the most well put together bikes I've ever worked on. It's lovely. I was thinking it's funny, I could take it out front and get a picture of it next to my 68 T100C. And that would be two of the prettiest T100s you'll run across in a long time. I just may do that later. So anyway, we're going to go back to this bike and I'll show you some close-ups. Everything about it is neatly done. Beautiful little battery box down there. The client does great work. He built this whole thing. I just worked on it. 69 license plate. That's kind of cool. These struts, he made these struts. It's a hardtail. Beautiful custom oil bottle. All around just well done. Everything about this bike is well done. Beautiful paint, very simple. Beautiful in its simplicity. So, right now we're going to pull this primary apart, take the primary drive out, and go in and look at that tranny main shaft seal. I have a bunch, I just don't know if I have one to fit this bike. If I do, I'll change it. If I don't, I'll order one. So, neat bike, fun to work on. Okay, this is a cool bike, and we all know the agony of unscrewing this rear brake adjuster. One half turn by a turn, half turn, half turn. Just a real pain in the butt, as Kevin was just showing. You gotta sit here and do this, and maybe grab a pair of pliers. That's a pain. So I got so tired of that, I made myself a special tool, which I'm gonna show you now, which is really cool. Okay, it's on the impact tool, it's right there. Kevin's just gonna unscrew that thing right now. And drop it. Okay, come on up. Bring that over here and just pull the tool off the impact tool. And let's just lay that sucker down right here. And what it is just a piece of tubing with a notch cut in it. And welded to an old socket that happened to fit inside the piece of tubing. And that's what I use when I have to put those adjusters on or off. So just thought I'd toss that in there. Neat tool, a lot of fun, and since I do so many of these, well worth making. Okay, we're getting ready to take this primary cover off. Interestingly, we had to take off the exhaust pipe. We had to take off the passenger peg, the rider peg. We had to take off the brake pedal just to get access to this little abutment down here. And that little abutment is where the primary chain adjuster fits. And the primary chain adjuster is built into the cover on the 500. The first time I took one of these covers off, I cursed and cursed and tugged and tugged and cursed and tugged some more before realizing that this adjuster was holding the cover in place. Now this guy fits in here like so. Okay, and he goes up there and hooks onto a screw, and that's your tensioner for the primary chain. You use a special tool like this that fits in the hole. I'm going to take it out so we can see this. This guy fits into the hole, into the slot on the end of that, like so, and fits into the slot on the end of this adjuster. Would you hold this, please? There you go. And because the hole's in the center, it's a pain, but that fits in there and unscrews this. They're held, once it's in there and the chain adjustment is set, you then put the cover bolt in here to close it off. Now, this is supposed to have a fiber seal on it. It doesn't. But the big thing is there are two styles of these that they change from year to year. This is the short one with coarse threads, and it fits in here. The later model had an extension about this far, made it longer, and made it easier to take off. But the threads were different. And if you try to put a long one into here, you'll break this abutment. If you try to put a short one into a bike that uses a long one, you'll break this abutment. On the 650s, this abutment is actually part of the engine. So be sure you get the right cover bolt for the bike that you're working on. If it came in without or disassembled, make sure you've got the right one for the right year, or you will break this abutment. On here it's not a big deal because it's on the cover, but on a 650 it is a very big deal because it's part of the motor and it can't be welded without taking the motor out. So anyway, that's the joy of taking this out. And now we're ready to take the cover off and take a look inside and see what we see. Oh my God, it's beautiful. Isn't that just lovely? Wow. Okay, so at this point, we're going to take the whole drive unit, all of this out to get to the access to the sprocket, and take the sprocket off to get access to the oil seal behind it. So you can see that it's not a 5-minute job. So that's the fun of it, and the fun just never stops. All right, primary's open, clutch plates are out. Alternator stator is out and hanging from the wire because it's a pain to route, so we just let it hang. We got the breaker bar on the front engine sprocket because this has to come off. Then we'll do this nut next. We're using a socket between the two of them to lock the two pulleys. If you have the right type of aluminum, you can cut a spacer and that'll fit in there. I used to have a bunch, but they just, frankly, they don't work as good as a socket for me, so I just keep using sockets. All right, so we're ready to break this first one free, and Kevin's gonna use a nice big breaker bar. And there it goes. Okay, now once that's free, very nice. We'll take it off the rest of the way with a regular with a regular socket handle, ratchet. All right, we've got the nut off the alternator rotor. We have two sockets in here, one jamming the two pulleys together, and this one locking the hub. And Kevin's gonna unscrew that center hub and hopefully successfully right about now, very nicely, very gently. That's great. Keep good solid pressure on it so the little sockets don't fall out. And there you go. And we'll use a regular ratchet from this point on just to take that nut out. Okay. And there you go. Now we can take this whole primary drive off. All right, getting ready to pull this primary drive off. We've got a gear puller on the rotor. We have the clutch hub puller in place, and actually this one didn't need this tool to pull the clutch off because it's basically loose. But I put my little adapter across here which holds the clutch hub to the clutch basket, so I don't have to worry about the 20 roller bearings just falling out all over the place. this gear puller here is wildly modified. I had a welder extend this leg about at least an inch or more, and extra holes in this crossbar. And then, actually, this used to be a three-legged puller. I cut the third leg off, and now it's in place. And let's see, Kevin, give this guy a turn and see if it'll pull that rotor off nicely. Yeah, it's a pain. They have to turn.
Yeah, I got cockeyed.
Yeah, I know. Now I got to level it. Yeah, straighten it out.
Yeah.
Because that one's on there tight.
Yep.
Look at that.
Dang.
Okay, level this guy exactly 180 from each other, so that the center stays in the bolt.
Yep. They are.
Yeah, it's a ball. Oh, this is that old 5-minute job. Is it coming?
Yep.
Now it's coming.
Yep.
Okay,
Had to get my mouth right.
exactly. Gotta hold your mouth just right. All right, we're gonna finish that up, then we'll take the front sprocket off. All right, continuing with the adventure. We've got the hub and clutch basket actually loose, and we've got this guy holding it together, so I don't have to worry about the bearings falling out. We're going to pull the front sprocket on this engine now, and that takes this special puller. This is, once again, highly modified. If you look at it, I've had a welder beef up both sides of the puller, so they're really thick and really strong. Once you hit this with the impact tool, the pounding will break that sprocket free. Now, in this case, it's interesting. That sprocket is already free. It just slides on. But I thought I'd show you this interesting puller with 2 bolts and spacers used to pull sprockets off that aren't free. So this whole unit's going to come out right now as a single unit. Matter of fact, why don't you lift it out, and then we'll go over and look at the stuff on the bench. See it?
Okay.
Both of those will come out at the same time comfortably. Very nice. Okay,
There
so
we go.
there's your whole primary drive. Now, if you want to take this out, I can put the
Yep.
either one, either that or the back one.
Yeah,
Whichever.
that's
There you
okay.
go. Now, if you'll hold it,
Yep.
I'll lift this. There.
There we
Okay,
go.
So that's out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So now bring that whole drive over and set it down right here. Okay. Beautiful. Now, just let me show you this puller. I'm going to undo it. It's only hand tight. When I bought it, it was just a bar across with 2 holes in it. And it worked for 1 or 2 jobs, but not all. So I cut it out to make a slot, the whole slot. I took a lot of filing there, a lot of sawing and a filing. And then one day it actually bent, that the pulley was so tight that it actually bent. So I took it to a welder and I had him make it double thickness. Now here on the bench are a collection of bolts that I use with this puller for various and sundry bikes. All these bolts fit all different kind of bike front sprockets and other sprockets. So it's a special tool that works on a lot of applications. And now that we've got this primary drive out, we're going to go back to the primary. Let me just go over here. At this point, we're going to pull this access hole out, cover off, get to the sprocket, pull the sprocket off, and that will give us access to the tranny main shaft seal. All right, the fun part of taking this plate out is these screws are very shallow headed, and if you try to get in there with a regular old screwdriver and undo these, you're going to mangle them 7 ways to Sunday. So the best way to break them free is with an impact wrench, impact tool, with a bit that has been ground down, filed down to fit inside the slot, and then you set it for goes out by there. Now it's ready. See, this is when you're tightening, this is when you're loosening. Get it in here very, very tight. Hold pressure on it like this, and then it'll turn. I'll do another one, and then we'll call it good, and I'll just go ahead and finish this. Let's get this in here. But if you don't do it this way, you're just going to mangle these screws. That one popped out. All right, let's see if it'll go. Well, we may start this video over again. There it goes. They're very tight. Okay, so that's the technique, and it's a pain, but you can either do it like this or just mangle the screws and replace them. There we go. All right, so that's 3 out of the 6. I'll finish those and take this plate off. Thank you. All right, in case you haven't caught on, I'm having a lot of fun doing this video. We have to take this big nut off of that sprocket. To do so, we have to make the sprocket nut turn. And so to do that, I made a special tool. I took an old fork tube and drilled out the holes, put a small bolt through it, and a short section of chain. And Kevin, if you'll take over this task.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we want to stop this from turning that way. So we'll get in here. It's different with a stock bike. This little bobber is a little different, so getting this in here is going to be a little bit of a pain. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, we're back. You may notice a break in the video there because I ran into a situation where my special tool, which is a straight shot on a stock bike, and goes right back here and locks itself up against the sprocket. It's very difficult. I can't get it in like that on this this nice bobber. So I run it from underneath and around the sprocket, and now it's locked down here on the frame. And Kevin, you're going to go ahead and turn that. Okay. Now, frankly, we did break it free, so Kevin's doing this at this point in time for a demonstration, just to get that nut off. It's just a good way to lock that sprocket. I don't subscribe to the stick a screwdriver through the holes theory of operation. I really like locking the sprocket with the chain. And by the way, you can't use the chain on the rear wheel because it'll just spin the rear wheel. Unless you lock the rear wheel. This is easier. And it's an old worn out piece of chain and an old worn out fork tube, and it works very nicely. And it is also an incredibly effective looking weapon. If it don't scare people, well, they're silly. Okay. All right. Can you pull that out of there? There it goes. Yeah. I mean, this is really cool. Really cool tool. Okay. Okay, pull that little jewel out. Okay. Now this is, we just did this and found this, and this was an oh my gosh moment. That's the seal on the sprocket. And that seal fits into the tranny here. And when we pulled it off, I said, oh my gosh, there's no seal installed. That seal should stay in here, not on the sprocket. So the question is, look, it's just a slip fit. So we're going to see if we can find a new seal that we can put there. And that's where the leak is. The leak is actually around the circumference of the seal versus the normal leakage, which is on the sprocket shaft. Let's see if putting this in here will help to pull that out. Did it come out with it again?
I can't see. Yep.
Yeah, it did. So that's really a loose fit. That's wrong. We're going to have to work on that. I'll be darned. Things I've never seen before. Okay, this is the seal that came out. It fits nicely around the sprocket, but it is loose in the tranny case. This is one, I have this collection of seals that I've collected over the years and years, and this one seems to be very nicely snug on the shaft. That feels great. Okay, and going over here, it seems to be a very tight fit here to the point where I'm not sure if we'll be able to tap it in, but we're going to try and see if we can tap that in. Okay, so we'll do that and see if it goes. It might not. All right, the seal that I found, the unknown seal, the masked seal, fit. I was able to tap it in there. It's nice and snug. And now we're going to put the sprocket on, and if it snaps into place nicely, we're done. And it snapped in just beautifully. All right. Well, we're going to assemble in reverse order. I love that instruction in the manuals. Assemble in reverse order. Right. Well, we're going to put it back together now, and I think we've solved any leakage that might have been coming out of that tranny main shaft seal. Looking good. Okay, the the sprocket nut is on and tight. Now we're going to put down the locking tabs on top and bottom opposite each other. And normally people get in here with a chisel and beat the heck out of them. We've come up with a way using slip joint pliers that's a whole lot nicer. Go ahead and do that one that we've already started. Gotta catch the edge of it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yep.
You can do it. All right, now get the other side.
Yep. Okay.
All right, now flip her over. Okay, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
And do that side. There you go.
Gentleman by the name of Toshi.
And this is what we call the easy way. Yep, this here is the easy way.
There we go. Just
Okay,
gotta get a good bite
gotta,
on it.
gotta get, yep, gotta get a good bite. Certainly isn't gonna come undone. You take the camera.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let me find it now. Wait a minute. Let me find it. There we go.
Are you on?
Yeah, I am now.
All right. You didn't. I opened them up one notch larger
Yeah.
than you had. That's all.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Okay, they're nice and tight. That's not going to go anywhere. All right. So anyway, that's the easy way. All right, good morning. This is next day follow-up. I put the primary back together, assemble in reverse order, as the manuals say. It's all closed up, got oil in it, sat overnight, no leaks. This is going to be a semi-cold start because I actually started it a few minutes ago. But this is just a demonstration start to show that it's ready to go out. Okay, that's good oil flow. It's all over the place. So, all right. Bike runs. Bike sounds good. Bike squirts oil. I love custom oil tanks. You normally don't open them with the bike running though, so I think it's... All right, so do a little test ride and call it good.